Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. We are here with week 4 of the college football recap here on the Hold Down the Fort Sports Podcast. We've got Michael back finally. We've got Ryan. We have a full panel for you today to talk some crazy games, both last week and coming up this week. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of interesting arguments. Fellas, I think we can all agree that this is the best college football quality of a season that we have had in quite some time. None of us know the 4 teams that are going to be in the playoffs. None of us know who's going to win. This has been awesome. Every week, I'm stuck to my seat watching another thriller. Whether it's FSU, Clemson, who not even ranked anymore, Clemson, or whether it's Colorado, Oregon, just watching them get blown out. Every team is providing me something of value to watch. I'm just loving it. So,
This
fellas, you
is,
guys got anything to say before we get started here?
I love to see it, man. This is why I've been saying I love college football more than the NFL, and probably always will. That'll
I'm
probably
starting to
always be
agree
the
more and
case.
more with that.
And dude, this is by far the most parity I've seen in the sport since I've started watching, which is when I was little. You look at the top 12, 13 teams in the country, you can make a case for any of them to be
Oh
in the
yeah,
playoff and win the title this year. So, you got Bama at number 12. When's the last time that happened? Clemson unranked, like you just said. And we're seeing a lot of, Pac-12 teams, like you said, rising to the top, a lot of high-flying offenses.
all the traditional basketball schools 4-0.
Dude, a lot of really exciting games. It's a great time to be a CFB fan. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really hyped to see what happens the rest of the year. It's really unpredictable, and I think that's the best part about it.
For sure. Ryan, you got anything before we get into this?
that buffalo. The buffalo.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, no, that clown show is over. So, it's very,
Yeah.
very good week for me. Shout out the Ducks.
Yeah,
That's the perfect segue.
I didn't get to be on the pod last week, but you can ask anyone here. I told everyone, even my friends who are like naive Colorado Dion fans, like I'm telling you, bro, like
It's not
gonna be
happening.
pretty.
It's
Not
done.
gonna be
It's
pretty.
done.
And yeah, what an interesting situation. God, we got it all this year, guys. We got it all.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue into our first topic. They're the talk of everybody's show. They're the lead off on every show, win or loss. Dion is just that guy media-wise. But, hey, the hype train has come to a stop for the moment. The Cinderella story, for now, is on pause as Colorado just got demolished in the trenches and straight up by Oregon. It was a butt-whooping 42-6, and it never felt close. That game was over halfway through the first quarter. But there's a lot that we can take away from this game, right? We know Colorado's a few years away in the trenches. We know they're missing Travis. Their talent guys that they brought in haven't barely even hit the field yet, right? Cormani didn't get to play until garbage time. And Oregon's a good team. You got a good coach, a good defense, years of recruiting building up. But when we look at this on a greater scale, right? Does this say more about Oregon? Like, are they really this good? Are they a top tier contender that can do this week in and week out? Or is Colorado just, not everything we were putting them up to be? And we knew that. We knew they weren't quite there, but are they much lower than we expected them to be? Or is it right in the middle, right? Where it's like a little bit of both? Because I don't know what to think. I loved what I saw out of Oregon, but at the same time, I expected a little more fight out of Colorado. Michael, what do you think?
So it's interesting because I think it really boils down to who you ask, right? If you were to ask a non-CFB casual, I think the real answer is we didn't really learn a lot about either team. I think real college football fans that follow the sport closely knew this was going to happen. We knew Oregon was going to look good against this really, really overrated and overhyped, dramatic media specialist Colorado team. So if you were to ask me, I really didn't learn a lot about either team. If anything, I'm going to use this time to speak about Oregon because it seems like everyone's just using this as time to talk about Colorado. I don't think they deserve my breath at this moment in time. So for Oregon, I got to give a shout out to Dan Lanning for the pregame speech, the halftime speech. Super hype. I hate that he's a Georgia defensive coordinator alum, but he brought the heat, he brought the smoke. Calling a trick play up 17 in the second quarter, no mercy on those guys. And rightly so, right? Like they hella disrespectful. Too much trash talk coming from a team that is going to lose that badly. But I also saw a lot of really good things from the Oregon Ducks. I've been saying I think that they are a sleeper, kind of national title playoff contender. That introduces a whole different conversation of the kind of dynamic and hierarchy in the Pac-12, which is really fascinating now. But I think this team was legit. I think they have a shot at any team in the Pac-12. And I think Bo Nix played lights out. He's a veteran guy, a ton of experience under his belt, and I think that that's something you need, especially in today's day and age where it seems like an upset can happen any given weekend. So, told me a lot more about Oregon, but to be honest, I think this is something that a lot of us really expected if you follow the sport closely.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We look at Oregon, and they were the leading points per game offense coming in. They were at 58. And, I know we can say, hey, it's a lot. It's averages. A lot of that comes from hanging 81 on Portland State, whatever it was. And this is a legit offense with a Heisman QB, weapons on the outside. They have everything. They've got a line. They've got a great coach, and they were at home. So, I agree with you, Michael. This is definitely, and we'll get into it later, but this is definitely CFP viable. I know they've got a gauntlet of a schedule to go through, but this does say a lot about them. It proves what a lot of us were thinking, and this is a way for Oregon to assert themselves as saying, on a national, extra national stage, we're here, we are legit, and we're coming for the playoffs, right? What do you think, Ryan? Oh no,
Yeah,
Michael, you wanna go?
I agree about the Oregon, but the whole Colorado clown media circus, I almost wish ESPN posted it now over the whole Taylor Swift, every damn tweet, every damn
Right,
post.
yeah, I think all of us almost missed the Colorado Blaze.
I bring back the LeBron posts. Bring back
they're coming. No, we're a month
bring
away
the
from
LeBron
NBA
posts.
season. They're coming.
But yeah, no, it's a clown show. The stepping on the logo and the rap song pregame, and it's a circus. It's literally like it's like a JUCO team that got a little bit of clout that's playing D1 schools. They're not good.
Yeah.
Shador Sanders is the least elusive athletic quarterback I've ever seen. They said he looks like Black Eli Manning. He just stands there. He can run around like Lamar Jackson, but crazy.
You had
Yeah.
something to say, Michael?
No, not really. I think Ryan really hit it home. I don't know. I can't stop thinking about how
And
much.
then I heard someone online, because the Dion defenders was saying like, "Oh, Travis Hunter, this would have been different." And someone commented, "That liver ain't scoring 36
Barely,
points or
yeah.
whatever."
I mean, maybe they get one extra touchdown. Like at most, he just makes a crazy play and gets one extra touchdown. But
or maybe a pick.
right.
Nothing.
I mean, that's it though. He's an amazing player, and personally, he's one of my favorite players, really, because he is special. But he's not making
he's
a
a West Palm
40-point
kid.
difference.
I like him, but I don't like the media frenzy about this
Yeah.
good
I mean,
team.
I mean, also
It's
Sam,
disrespectful to the Blue Bloods.
Sam, you mentioned Cormani. I mean, 5-star guy. You'd expect him to be starting, and the kid isn't even showing up to practice. And you got Dion.
Right, yeah, and Dion's talking about that after the game.
I think that speaks volumes to the culture Dion is having there. And I know it's not all Dion's fault that players aren't showing up to practice. He is 18. He's whatever. He's an adult. He should be doing it on his own.
That seems like more of a Cormani issue. Honestly, like I'll be for real. I don't pin that on Dion or Dion's culture. I think he's setting a good culture in place, like a good foundation. I think it's this kid being a diva. He was getting chased with countless millions of NIL to go wherever he wants.
But you got to ask yourself though, like if Cormani goes to an SEC program like Florida, like he almost did, do you think that shit flies? I don't think so, right?
No, that's why he's not playing though. So I mean, I can't say it.
And that shit
wouldn't
here either. Flew in Miami if he did stay here with what Cristobal's trying to implement.
Miami would have put him on the field. They need every bit they can get.
All right, I think it's a good time to kind of move on to this next game, which I thought was the game of the weekend. I don't know about y'all. Maybe a close second to another game we'll discuss, but Ohio State beating Notre Dame 17-14 in a thriller of a game. I really enjoyed watching. I thought this was probably one of the best, if not the best, most competitive game from two teams we've seen this season. I think both teams look good. I don't think that it was necessarily a low-scoring game because teams look sloppy. I think that we saw, for the most part, some good football. And the question that I have for you all is, did Ohio State really prove their title contenders in this game, and can Notre Dame kind of come back from this and still compete for one of those playoff spots? What are y'all's thoughts? I guess we'll start with Sam.
Yeah, as far as Ohio State goes, I mean, I saw a little more than I was expecting to say. I'll definitely say that. McCord looked capable back there, utilized his weapons, and they did what they got to do. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes down with a scary injury, but he's back. He's okay. played through it. But it's just hard. You know, I get it. Notre Dame is a great team. They can definitely contend. They've got pieces and all that. I don't know. I'm just in a sticky situation because I'm seeing Penn State with Drew Aller and they look amazing. I see a lot of people in a weak 2025 quarterback class. Drew Aller is probably the number one pick. Let's be real. Right now, I can't tell any other unless we'll talk about that later. If some of the 24 QBs stay an extra year, like a Shador and all those guys, if they stay one more year and then I'll go out. As of right now, I would say that Drew Aller is probably the number one pick next year. But I mean, I'm just seeing teams that look so much better than them, and I get it. These are two great teams playing each other. I don't know. They won. It's great. I think Penn State beats them right now. I think Michigan beats them right now still, and we'll see those games at some point. So that's for Ohio State. As far as Notre Dame goes, I think you
Penn
can
State's
definitely
in 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. As far as Notre Dame goes, you still have a chance, right? Like you're not mathematically eliminated. No one's gonna shame you for a 3-point loss to Ohio State. You do play USC. You play more good teams. They have loaded up this schedule with the purpose of showing that, they play good teams, right? Like with the purpose of competing for a playoff spot. They play Duke this weekend, and they're ranked 17th, so you get to bounce back right away. Louisville's, they're a decent team. They've been okay, but no one's judging you off that. But you play eighth ranked USC. You play Clemson, who's unranked. We'll see by the time that game comes. So you have 2 to 3 more games where you can say, hey, we are still a legit team. Depending on how this season plays out and who loses, 2 to 3 games by the end of the year, we can still compete for that spot.
Yeah, I also think it helps their case. I mean, they lose to a really good Ohio State team in a close game, and also it's early in the year.
On a game winner.
Yeah. It's early in the year, which means they have time to look better and kind of prove themselves with those wins that you talked about. But one thing I kind of want to touch on is, when you say Ohio State would probably lose to Penn State and Michigan, I wouldn't be so sure or so confident. I could definitely hear arguments as to why that could be the case. I think the Big Ten is just as open of a conference as the
100%.
SEC or Pac-12 right now. I think that
agree.
All 3 of those conferences, a handful of teams could come away as the champion of those conferences. I don't think
the SEC is open, but we can debate that later.
You don't think the SEC is open?
I think Georgia's got it. Bama just doesn't look like they've been able to do it. 24 points on Ole Miss. I don't trust your QB against the Georgia defense. We can debate that another time.
We'll talk that later. But I don't know. I like this Ohio State team. I think Kyle McCord really showed me a lot. I've been a believer in McCord, but seeing some of those throws he made down the stretch in crunch time, especially that one right to the goal line, such a tight window he had to squeeze in there. I think Ohio State is in a good position. And I can't speak highly enough about their defense. I mean, holding Notre Dame to 14 points. Sure. Jim Knowles is the truth. It's his second year there. They look great on the defensive side of the ball, which is not something that we've been able to see in Ohio State historically. Even last year, they did not perform super well. But if this is an Ohio State team that can really, really shut down, some high-flying Big Ten offenses, I think they can go pretty far. And I think that they really showed me a lot. I can't not mention the Ryan Day interview at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Calling out Lou Holtz. I think Lou Holtz just needs to be quiet, to be honest.
Lou Holtz the clown.
Yeah, it's some really silly takes. I don't know if you all saw his response too, saying that he would stick by it and that he thought Notre Dame won the game.
Lou Holtz hated on Miami since I've been alive. I've never liked that guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's just who he is. But I really liked Ryan Day's response, sticking up, calling him out, saying, my team is tough. Y'all don't see what we do in practice every day. I think that goes a longer way than most people may think for the team and morale up there in Columbus. So,
Michael, I got to say one thing real quick. I don't know if high-flying offense and Big Ten really go together.
Okay, yeah. I kind of realized that. But, I mean, when you think about it, like, I don't know, Drew Aller and Penn State, their offense looks all right. And I'll give you Michigan. Michigan doesn't look super fluid right now. But, no, high-flying wasn't the best way to kind of characterize it. But I think that the point being, their defense looks a lot better than previous years.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
That makes them unique this year relative to previous years.
And you have receivers galore. I mean, you got 10 receivers on that team, give or take, right? That are probably a 4 or 5 star recruit going out of high school.
On that note, I'm also ready to kind of make the argument that maybe MHJ is not the best receiver in the country.
Who's taking his place?
Rome Odunze.
In Washington?
Yeah, that guy is real deal.
One's getting thrown to by Michael Penix and one's getting our superstar Kyle McCord. So let's pump the brakes on that.
Don't sleep on Kyle McCord, but I don't know. Odunze looks different. I mean, It's close.
Luke
I
is
think it's
throwing to him.
closer.
And Washington, I don't know. Luke is throwing to him, and look at the other receivers that are there, plus the defenses they're playing against. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's another discussion.
Yeah.
But
We can definitely talk that another time.
I think
Ryan,
it's
what are your
closer
thoughts?
than what I think it's that gap is closer than what I thought it was.
Yeah, maybe. I could agree with that much.
I don't think Notre Dame is a contender because at the end of the day, every time they've been granted a championship spot in the past 15 years, they get blown out like Colorado
We
did.
can admit Sam Hartman is a much better quarterback than the ones
It
who
doesn't
were
matter.
quarterbacking.
It's like
those
the
other
Jets.
teams,
The
though.
Jets will Jets. Notre Dame will always choke in a championship.
I hear you, bro. I
don't want
I
to
can get
waste
on
my
board with that.
time seeing that game. It's no
Yeah.
one watches it. No one wants it. I hate
Yeah.
Notre Dame. No one wants
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly fair. And talking about rankings and the ranked matchups and everything, that just brings us up to our next topic. Just a little break in the action between breaking down all these games. Another cool thing to always break down is the AP poll, right? What we think they did right, what we think they got wrong, and just what could change in the future, right? It's always a good thing to take a look at it. And while we pull it up here, I mean, guys, I just got to ask you, first glance at this new AP poll, we see a lot of changes, more than most weeks. What do we like? What are we not liking? Is there anything bad, right? Is there anything blatantly sticking out? What are your guys' thoughts on this new AP poll?
I mean, I guess I can go first. I like FSU moving down. I think obviously this might be a tiny bit biased, but I think there's a basis now to say they're a bit overrated. I mean, you talk about Jordan Travis making a shirt, beating the Tigers or whatever, but you got to realize this guy's had 5 shots to do it. This is his first time, and then he's gonna make a shirt beating the unranked version of the team. I mean, I don't know. I like them moving down. Do I think they have the most impressive wins?
Yeah, they
Yes.
have to. Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
and I agree. They should move down. I'm not going to argue that, but you're right.
Yeah,
They have to.
I
They
mean,
also have to have a great resume.
Yeah. Their resume, they probably have the best resume in the country currently, just because of the wins they have. But was that win pretty the other day? No.
No,
Was
not
the
at
win
all.
against Boston College pretty? No. I think there's a lot of kinks they got to work out. I think eventually they're going to drop a game or two. And I think FSU fans probably realize this isn't the team they thought they were after week 1.
My expectations are fulfilled. When we talked beginning of the season, we both said I didn't expect them to go 2-0 in the 2 hardest games on their schedule at Clemson and against LSU. So
well, that's because I didn't
impressed
agree
me.
that Clemson was going to be the second best.
Yeah,
game on the
I
schedule.
guess, but
No, I did. I did think that would be the second best game. But I mean, also looking at the poll, I mean, I can't make an argument for anyone to replace them, but like, it's really just unnerving having Georgia and Michigan at the top there. I think both teams have showed signs of weakness and flaws.
so is everybody in that top half, though. Like in the top 5, really, all 5 of them have had their moments where they don't look great at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't really replace them, but having them at 1 and 2, just because those are the teams that were there last year and have been there historically. It's just I don't know. I really gotta sit on that and see how they perform in some bigger upcoming games.
I'm gonna say this though, real quick. I don't mean to cut you off. If 2 weeks from now Washington plays Oregon, the winner of that game, if the stuff keeps laying out the way it has so far, the winner of that game will be ranked top in the country. I think they'll dethrone Georgia if stuff keeps panning out this way.
The winner of Washington versus Oregon?
Yeah, because that's 7
Not that
against
I don't
9.
agree, but it's not
I
going to
think they're
happen,
both
bro.
going to move up, and they've both been outstanding so far, much better than the top 6 teams. The only thing you can say about them is they haven't played anybody.
They
So if they
might
look
move
as
them
dominant
before.
as they have, and they beat a top 10 team, I've seen enough.
I mean, the logic kind of makes sense, and I wouldn't necessarily be opposed. But if Georgia, Michigan, and Texas are still undefeated at that point, they're not getting replaced. I could maybe see Ohio State getting dropped to like 5, but I don't know. And then another team I got to mention, or if you scroll down a bit, is I really don't understand how Florida is ranked lower than Tennessee.
Yeah, I so agree with this.
Yeah, kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I guess you could make the argument like, oh, Tennessee might still be the better team, but I mean, the way that we beat them, I think, really showed who's boss. Really, I don't really understand that. I think also, I hate to say this
because
because
Ole Miss falling that far.
You don't like them falling that far?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of disagree on that. I think they should be down there. If not, even one further down maybe. But I kind of like them in that spot.
I mean, they lost a close game to Bama.
It did not feel close though.
Yeah, I don't know. This might be a hot take because I know a lot of people are talking about them now, but
Yeah.
I think Missouri is still being a little bit overhyped for my liking.
Maybe, but that Kansas State win was a good win nonetheless. I mean, at 4-0 with a good win, I can see you being ranked.
Yeah, I could see them being there now, but do I think they're the 23rd best team in the country?
No.
Probably not. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Oh yeah. Ryan, what are your thoughts? Do you have anything that's sticking out to you in this AP poll that we haven't mentioned?
Yeah, I was gonna mention the Tennessee and Florida next to each other.
Yeah.
Even though one is a head-to-head. I do like the ACC getting some representation, and I think those games will be good because remember this year in the ACC, it's not the divisions. Everyone just is kind of playing each other.
So I think it'll be good. Done for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for like Miami to play North Carolina, and we play Duke because they're in our division, but we don't play them this year.
Yeah,
but just like some of those games, I think will be great.
Me too. I mean, honestly, I don't know the rest of the slate for the week that Miami and North Carolina play, but I don't see a reason why, if there's no other crazy good games, why can't game day go down to? Is it in Miami, Ryan, or in North Carolina?
No, it's in Carolina. Sadly.
Yeah, why can't we go to Chapel Hill for a game day for 2 top 20 teams?
Let me look at that week and see if there's anything else enticing.
I mean, yeah, if there's a better game, there's a better game, but
yeah. But I agree. Miami is TBD right now for the. Oh, I guess everything is except for. Oh. USC Notre Dame that week.
Okay, never mind. So they're not getting
that's
game
NBC. ESPN doesn't do game day at NBC.
I get, yeah. Honestly,
because NBC has all the TV rights for Notre Dame. They'll never do a game day. So let me see what else.
Wait, what weekend is that?
The 14th. Oh, Oregon at Washington.
Okay, so Oregon Washington is getting game day, so we can just chalk that up.
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
We can just chalk that up.
Honestly, I mean. A little birdie told me that Florida goes to South Carolina that weekend.
Yeah, well, that's a little low on the watch list.
Yeah. I don't see 2 ranked. I'm just talking about ranked.
The Spencer Rattler Graham Mertz showdown is not going to be the hot spot on TV.
Hey, man, you know who has the 5th best completion percentage in the country right now?
Yeah, well, it's Dink and Dunk City against Charlotte and
the 5th best defense in the country right now and the best in the SEC.
Oh yeah, Charlotte and what was the other one? Charleston State or whatever.
Dude, come on, you got to give the Tennessee game some props.
Yeah, that was
Tennessee's
good. That was a good ass game. That was a good ass game.
Hey, Tyler Van Dyke doesn't look atrocious anymore.
Yeah, well, before we move off the AP poll, I will say 2 things. One, I think Miami beats North Carolina. I love Drake May, but North Carolina looks extremely fraudulent. They look bad. I mean, it's getting rough at some points. And then 2, I think Washington State should be much higher than they are. This team is really underrated with a good quarterback and good weapons. They're going to make some noise. I think you could easily put Washington State at least at 14. At least. I think they're better than North Carolina. I think they're better than Oklahoma. We can start debating LSU, Alabama, the rest of those. I mean, I don't know. I think this Washington State team is a good team. Yeah, and they beat my Oregon State, who I was so high on for so long.
Yeah, those would be good games. I think Ward is the real deal. He showed out last weekend. That was a great performance.
Yeah, I mean, but if anyone else have anything to say about this AP poll before we move back into talking about the games?
I don't think so. I think we covered most of it.
Yeah. So then, with that being said, Ryan, you mentioned Ole Miss, Bama. You thought Mississippi should be a little bit higher. That game went down, not down to the wire, not quite. It didn't. It never felt close to me. Alabama won 24-10. It was close for a little bit, but they ended up pulling away. Is Alabama back on track? I mean, Michael, this is your national champion pick. No. Have they righted the ship with Jalen Milroe at QB? Are they bound for the CFP now? What do you think?
They look terrible still. Like, this isn't the Bama we're used to. It's crazy.
Not at all, no.
I mean, I don't know.
How are you feeling, dude? What 1 to 10 right now? What is your worry meter for your national champion pick?
I'd say a solid 6.8.
Okay.
I'm a little worried. I won't lie. I'm a little worried, but do I think that they win out? There's a good chance that happens.
They still have They have LSU on their schedule. I think Tennessee is still on there. You think
they win LSU? That's it.
I mean, dude. All right, this is a Tennessee team that just lost to Florida. I love Florida, but if you're losing to Florida,
if you're Alabama, that shouldn't be a worry.
That shouldn't be a worry. Yeah. And also, bro, you got to get your get back if you're Bama after last year, bro.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you lost to both.
It's being played in Bryant-Denny. They never lose there. That's
Except
a win.
Texas.
And then, I mean, LSU, I don't know if that's in Death Valley or not, but
It's
I
it's
mean,
not.
in Alabama.
Yeah, it's in Alabama.
so
Both games are at home now.
yeah, I mean, also that LSU team lost to what I believe is an overrated FSU team. I mean, they look good week 1, but I mean, if you're Bama, that's a very, very winnable game.
Also, they have a bye week in between. Tennessee bye week, LSU.
Yeah, I
And
also think that Bama LSU game is probably going to decide who makes it to the
Yeah,
SEC championship
100%.
in the
Nobody
West.
else is.
So I think if they win those 2 games and win the SEC, they're in.
I just don't think they can win the SEC right now, though. That's the thing.
Okay, but they're playing a Georgia team, and you cannot tell me that Carson Beck looks invincible. You can't tell me that
100%.
offense looks
But,
amazing.
Hey, Jalen Milroe doesn't exactly look like a world beater either.
Yeah,
so.
but I think if you look at the surrounding players and support system, I think Bama has the upper hand.
It'll be close. Yeah, I mean,
Bama's still playing great defense against an Ole Miss team who was usually a super high-powered offense with Jackson Dart, Judkins, right? You hold them to 10 points with a Lane Kiffin who is known for dropping a ton of points. Their defense is still Bama defense.
Yeah,
right?
the defense is not much of an issue.
I think that's going to pose problems for Carson Beck if that happens to be a SEC championship. I don't know. I still think that they have a good shot at making the playoff.
I will say this though, because all right, if they win out, of course you have a good chance. But then I ask you this, right? Look at all the teams that are doing good right now. Let's say we get to the end of the year and we've got an undefeated Washington, undefeated Ohio State, undefeated Texas, undefeated Florida State, 1-loss Georgia, 1-loss Bama. Throw in some other 1-loss teams. And you don't have a crazy argument for Bama because you lost to Texas. Tennessee is probably going to be they could be unranked by the time they get to you. LSU we saw what happened to them against Florida State. We'll see what happens to them the rest of the year. So you have a good win against Georgia in the SEC championship, and then not much else going for you except a loss and close games. How do you beat out some of those teams for that last spot?
My only problem with the hypothetical is that it assumes FSU goes undefeated.
Okay, well, yeah, you know what? I'm showing a little faith in that we're beating 4 or 5 ranked teams. So what?
I mean, it could happen. And if that does happen, I think that you're right. I think that there is a problem for Bama. I think they'd really have to.
Any other year they could slip in with that resume. I just don't think this year the way it's looking like.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if other teams are going undefeated, it'd be really hard to make a case for a 1-loss Bama team to make it if the top 4 teams are undefeated.
Right, yeah.
Right?
I mean,
this year there could be a Pac-12 team. They always got brushed out of the conversation, even if they won the Pac-12. But
yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of
winning the
potential
Pac-12 is a great accomplishment if you win the Pac-12 this year.
I mean, there are 3-4-ish teams in the Pac-12 that are all very capable of making
100%. I agree, and we'll talk about that a little more. But I mean, we'll see, guys. I mean, Ryan, do you have anything else you want to say about Bama, Michael? Anything before we move on?
Still sticking with him, unfortunately. I mean, I don't know. In Saban, I trust, I guess.
We'll see. And I mean, talking about under the radar, like we are here, we're going to go to another game. Under the radar contenders, right? We just said 4 teams in the Pac-12 we think that can make it. There's a lot of good teams this year, guys. There's so much parity, so many teams with great quarterback play, good coaching, and decent surrounding talent, right? And that's, at the end of the day, what you need to make it in this sport. You need good quarterback play, good to great quarterback play, good to great coaching, and good surrounding talent. There's a lot of teams that have that for me. So what we'll do is we'll throw out, it could be 1, 2, 3 really key under the radar teams that you think can make a push for the CFP. And we'll see what we all think about it, right? So Ryan, why don't you throw me a couple under the radar contenders that you see? They could be unranked, they could be ranked. Who are we not talking about that can make the college football playoff?
I don't know about not talking about, but I think Oregon, if they win out, they're in. Guaranteed.
Yeah, 100% if they win out.
I'm not going to say USC and Caleb Williams. I don't think that's an under-the-radar team.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so.
I'm just trying to think. I'm thinking maybe a team in the SEC. Let me pull up the list because I'm not convinced with Georgia and I'm not convinced with Bama, to be quite frank.
Well, you know who is second in the SEC East currently? Just putting that out there.
Based on conference record, it's showing.
So what are you trying to say, Michael? Are we going to see that certain team slip in?
No, probably not. But yeah,
maybe LSU. Honestly, I think if LSU's only loss is to an ACC champ FSU, and LSU goes and beats Bama and wins the SEC, which would include probably beating Georgia.
Win over Georgia.
LSU.
That's a good pick. I like
But
that.
Jaden Daniels is not him, so I
No,
don't think that's gonna
I
happen.
don't think so either.
I'll disagree. I think Jaden Daniels is a good football player. I mean, Ryan, we saw him front row at the 50.
I was
and
chirping that guy the whole
he,
game.
but he did some ungodly things to the Gators defense.
He clapped you.
Yeah, so like I can tell you firsthand that guy is the real deal. I don't know. LSU would have to do a lot. I think, like you said, they have to beat Bama and win the SEC, which I think is no easy feat. If they do that, I think there's a case, especially because I don't
But if
think
they do, they're in. So that would be my under the radar pick.
Yeah.
Those are two good picks. Yeah.
I got a couple under the radar picks. Number one was actually Alabama for me. I think a lot of teams are counting them out.
Now you know what? Now they're under the radar. It's totally valid.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are counting them out preemptively. You look at their schedule, like we just talked about. Tennessee at home, LSU at home, and then you got the SEC championship. And I think honestly, there's probably like a 50% chance that combined they go undefeated between the Tennessee and LSU games. And then at that point, it's just, can you win the SEC title in the title game? Whether it be Georgia, whether it be, whatever other team is making the SEC championship, can you win that game? And if they can win those 3 games, I think that they have a pretty convincing case, just because I don't think FSU is going undefeated. And that actually is another take that I had for this segment. I don't think a single ACC team is going to make the playoff this year. I think
we've got a few that are contending. So yeah, there
definitely are contenders, but I think that there are a lot of good teams, specifically North Carolina, Duke, Clemson, and FSU. I think each of them will give each other a loss or two. And then you still got Pitt there for FSU. You still got Miami there.
Let's back up on the Pitt talk. But
I'm not talking about those teams being playoff contenders. I'm saying those are still solid enough. I'm saying those are still solid enough teams to force losses that are really too bad for your resume for you to be able to make it to the playoff. I think each of those teams are kind of in the same tier. I'd be lying if I said FSU isn't at the top of that, but I don't think they're invincible. I think they lose a game or two, and I think that because of that, I don't see any other team in the ACC going undefeated, and I think that's what needs to happen for them to make the title, unless we see FSU drop a really, really close game and then win the ACC title or lose in a close game.
Or the ACC championship is a really close loss against an undefeated North Carolina, something like that.
My other sleeper team, actually, to make the playoff, this is not something I think either of you are expecting, is the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah, I was waiting for someone to say that one.
I think that the Big 12 is the least wide open out of any conference, and I think it's a two-man battle. I think it's Texas and OU, the two best teams in the conference. I think the two teams that are going to the SEC for a reason. And right now, and I've made this take on previous pods. I think Texas has it. I think it's theirs to lose. I think they look like the better team. Quinn Ewers looks like the truth. I think Sarkisian has that team.
I've been on Quinn for years. I've waited for this moment to
Sarkisian has those guys in the exact spot he wants them. But it's Texas. They can drop a game to OU. They have historically, and I think that if they lose to OU, it really, really means that OU has a good shot, because I don't think there's really a ton of competitive teams playing OU the rest of the year. I might be wrong. I haven't really looked at their schedule recently, but I think just based on what the rest of the Big 12 is looking like, I think OU has a decent shot if they can get over the hump of beating Texas.
Which is in 2 weeks.
Yep, and that's going to be a great game.
And then they probably have to rematch in the Big 12.
In the championship.
So.
Yeah, in the title, right?
Hey, when we talk about the Big 12, though, do not sleep on Kansas down here hiding at little 24, messing some stuff up. We remember they were undefeated last year and ranked before their quarterback, who's very good, went down. He's back. He's playing really good again. They're 4-0 in rank. Do not sleep on these guys to make some noise in the Big 12.
Yeah. They're, in my opinion, the third best team in the Big 12.
They might be. Kansas at third, Kansas State at 4, and then everything else is what you're arguing over: Cincinnati, UCF, Baylor, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So,
Mike, do you have any more picks before I give out mine?
Yeah, I think those are my two main ones, just Bama and OU. I think that's mostly it.
Sure. So in the spirit of doing two, I'm not actually very high on this team, but just because they are hiding under the radar and their schedule and just, the talent, right? When we look at the CFP, you need a good college quarterback. You need a good to great college quarterback to make the college football playoff. And so when you say Oklahoma, I don't think Dylan Gabriel's at that level. Everything else, like I don't think Jalen Milroe's at that level. Bo Nix, I think, is at that level. So when Ryan says that, I give that more, validity. I think Bo Nix is a great Heisman candidate quarterback who can bring a team there. Drake May, I mean, the guy's going to be the second pick in the draft probably, second quarterback at least. I think North Carolina is a little under the radar just because of their schedule and their quarterback. I think they could sneak in. And then, I mean, there's a couple teams I think can definitely make noise because you got to think of their schedule and just their talent overall. If I have to pick someone else, I mean, to sneak in, man, it's tough.
Dang. Y'all really didn't prep this before, huh? That's crazy.
I'm going to go FSU. I mean, I have to debate when I want to pick bias and when I don't. I'm the only one who has them making the playoff when we all give our predictions. So to say they're under the radar,
Miami could beat them, bro. Like they're not good.
It's in FSU. We saw what happened last year.
TBD's with the ground. Yeah, I mean,
TBD's gonna choke when it
gonna do
matters.
that impression on him.
So I don't think I am worried about I'm more worried about Duke and I'm more worried about the ACC championship. I'm low-key worried about that Florida game in the swamp.
As you should
we'll all
be
there. Might have a little live content coming for you. Don't want to.
We will be having some live content. Don't you worry.
I'm more worried about UF. I'm more worried about Duke. I ain't worried about Miami for FSU. But that's my under the radar pick. I'm gonna say North Carolina and FSU. One of the two ACC guys will slip in that playoff.
All right, I think
out of the day for y'all. Second highest QBR in the nation is Tyler Van Dyke.
Yeah.
I think with that being said, that also transitions pretty well into our next segment, which is the FSU Clemson game. I mean, what a game! I kind of alluded to this earlier. I think it was a really entertaining game to watch.
Yeah.
Overtime thriller. FSU comes out on top on a great back shoulder throw to Keon Coleman by Jordan Travis.
A stud. Top 5 receiver.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm not ready to say top 5.
Okay. Top 10.
If you look at the numbers, they wouldn't even support top 10. But
talent does. Eye test does.
I mean, I guess eye test, sure, whatever. But I guess the question for y'all is, what does this say about FSU? How far can they go? And really, what is Clemson's ceiling? I mean, 2-2 Clemson, unranked. Dabo really, taking the fall by not exploring the portal. It seems. What is the ceiling for Clemson, and how far can FSU go?
I mean, I'll start because I am the resident FSU guy here. We know how far this team can go, right? Like we see the schedule, we see the talent, especially on paper. We see the quarterback when he's playing up to his potential. Right, this team can slip in as the 3 to 4 seed in the playoff. Okay, if we win the ACC championship, our resume will speak for itself. We all admitted right now, out of the top 10 teams, they have the most impressive resume in the country right now. There's nothing that tells me that if they win out, they can't slip into the playoff. So that's my ceiling for them. Really, I've seen resilience.
I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
Do you think they can win the title?
Oh. Don't lie to yourself now. Don't lie to you.
I mean, you're making me fight between. You know my pick. I know. You know what we talked about. It was Georgia. Where's it being played this year? Where's the title game being played this year?
I don't think that matters, dude. I think that answers the question, bro.
It don't matter if it was being played in Doak Campbell Stadium. It don't matter.
I think they can make the championship game. Do I think they can win it? I'm gonna say no unless we get a matchup that really fights in our favor and is really equal. Like if we play Georgia, who's my pick to win it all, I'm not taking them over Georgia. Georgia will win. If we get a Michigan, we're talking a different story because I just saw TCU beat Michigan last year. With a similar, with nothing like the roster that FSU has right now.
Yeah.
So, it's going to come down to matchup. I think they can make the championship game. I don't think they can win it. I'll be real. I don't think they can win it.
You might not like this take right now, but we'll come back to it as we near winter break. But I think Bama would beat this FSU team.
No. Jalen Milroe isn't doing anything to us.
I think you'd be surprised, but yeah, I mean, Ryan, what is your thoughts?
Bama's got to take care of UCF first. I mean, USF first. We can barely put up 20 points there.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Ryan, what are your thoughts on this Clemson team on FSU?
Clemson's a joke. I'm really hoping Miami beats them when they come down here in 3 weeks. Probably won't be a night game anymore because they're trash. It'll probably be at 12 p.m. in the sun. It was Clemson's game to lose, and they choked. They had a kicker off the street. And the broadcast was hyping up when he made the earlier ones, and they're bringing him out, and they're hyping up like, oh, if he gets this game, and you knew it wasn't going in, even though it was 20 yards away, you just knew.
Showing the family right before, bro.
Yeah,
And I got the report notification of the family celebrating the extra point earlier in the game. I'm like, oh no, he ain't making this, and he missed the 20-yarder. FSU should have lost to Boston College. They should have lost that game. They're not impressive.
Should have lost to Boston College is crazy. At no point did I think they were ever in danger of losing to Boston College.
Whoa. We're not saying that now, are we, Sam?
I never thought they were going to lose the game.
Sam, it was a one-score game for like a very long time. That game,
and you thought they were going to lose it? You thought Boston?
Dude, if Boston College wasn't Boston College athletes, they would have won that game.
That quarterback is he's mobile and everything, and he's nice and dynamic two-way, but
y'all had 18 penalties,
right, and still won.
Yeah, but the point is the game stayed pretty close for a while there.
It was close.
I'm taking Miami currently over this FSU team.
I don't know. So I guess I'll answer it because I want to get to the last segment here. But how far can FSU go? I think their ceiling is sneaking into the playoff. I think that's partly because the ACC is kind of weak. Do I think they win a playoff game?
I mean, we can't call them weak. There's 5 ranked teams right now.
All right, let's talk about what other conferences we're comparing them to.
They're better than the Big 12.
I think they're probably the fourth best conference in college football.
No, I think they're the third. I think they're better than the Big 12.
Way better than the Big 12.
Well, who was last?
Oh, I guess Big 12 was last then, right?
Yeah, that's why I have them fourth. I have the Big 12 last.
I could argue. Man,
what?
You're right. You're right. Okay, I can live with fourth.
So,
that's fine. I can live
regardless, I think FSU ceiling is making the playoff. I don't think they're capable of winning a playoff game. Obviously, that depends on the matchup, but I don't see it happening very likely. I don't think they're necessarily going to win or make the playoff in the first place, but it's possible. It's definitely very possible, way more possible than previous years. I'll give them that.
Yep.
For Clemson, it's you got to be embarrassed if you're a Clemson fan, if you're a Tiger. But do I think that this means it's the end of their season? Obviously, they are not playoff contenders this year. I think that's very clear. But you look at the losses. The loss to Duke, yes, it's embarrassing, but you handed them that game. You look at the loss to FSU. You handed them that game in crunch time. I think this Clemson team is getting a lot of hate, and rightly so. But I don't think that necessarily means that they're not going to be favored to win or will win a lot of these close matchups in the ACC against teams like North Carolina, like Miami. I think they have a very good shot at winning those games. And sure, they might not be clutch down the stretch, but I think those are mistakes that can be fixed. And maybe they could have been fixed if Dabo explored the portal a bit more and got a kicker, for example. So really, really, I think Clemson's a better team than people are hating on them for right now. But with that being said, I mean, you think it's time to get to this preview of Week 5? You want to do quick pick'em, Sam? Just go through some of the big games.
Yeah, we can do the big games, and then we'll hit a little upset alert because that is a news segment really that we're debuting here. When we look at the games, like we said before, there's definitely some good games. I'm just gonna scroll through and I'll pull it up so everyone can see. I'll rapid fire my picks, and then you guys can tell me what you disagree with, what you agree with. We start up here Friday. Great game, Utah, Oregon State. I think
a lot of teams on bye this week before.
Yeah, definitely a lot of teams on bye. I take Oregon State to win this. Utah is playing their third-string quarterback still. The offense looks so lethargic. They're 10 because of what they can be with Cam Rising, but I take Oregon State to win that game. This is still a great team in Oregon State, in my opinion. Penn State, Northwestern. Do we even have to spend any time here? Penn State, USC, Colorado. We'll love to see another beatdown on Colorado.
USC by 30.
Yeah, we all know USC's winning here. Florida, Kentucky, sneaky good game.
I think it's a good game, too.
Kentucky beat them last year.
Yeah, Evan Leary is quarterback in Kentucky. They're favored by a point. I'm still going Florida. I think Florida's going to beat them. I'm not a big Kentucky believer right now.
I don't know. I think this game says a lot about Napier being able to overcome the last 2 years. I mean, if you think before that, we beat them like almost 33 years in a row.
Yeah,
because I remember they beat you in Florida, and it was like the first time like ever or something.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
A huge thing. Yeah, I think I'd be lying if I said I think we're gonna blow them out. I think it'll be a competitive game. I have us maybe by like a touchdown and a field goal or something, but I think it'll be close.
Yeah, over under on that game is very low, and then the game above it's 77 for the USC.
73, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And 70 of those are going to be from Caleb Williams if it happens.
Georgia Auburn could be a sneaky good game, but I do take Georgia to win there.
Well, it's being played at Jordan Air, so anything
Yeah,
could happen
yeah,
there.
who knows really? Michigan, Nebraska, really, guys. I mean, come on.
Nebraska's not a real football team.
No, they're
Yeah.
a snooze fest. They might as well be an FCS team.
I do think Nebraska could cover 17.5, though.
I don't think they can score 17 points if their life depended on it.
Well, they don't need to
The
score
over
17.
under.
They're going to need to cover this spread with what Michigan's about to do to them.
Because
Bro,
Michigan doesn't score. That over under
Michigan-
39 points is gross.
Yeah,
I mean,
Michigan does not look great offensively. I think
No.
Nebraska could
Well,
cover,
I don't know.
but I don't know. I'm staying away from that line for the most part.
That game might be 17-3.
Texas Kansas is a good game.
This is going to be a really good game. Do not sleep on Kansas. Do not sleep on them. Texas minus 16.5. Kansas could very well cover this. At the end of the day, I'll take Texas to win. Do not sleep on Kansas. Will I be jaw drop shocked if Kansas comes away with a win? Not at all.
I definitely like Texas to win that game.
I like them to win too. Yeah,
I don't know if I like them to cover. I think
don't
they
either.
could. I think they could cover though. I think
maybe.
they're legit.
Missouri Vanderbilt. All right, guys, come on. Let's not get too carried
Vanderbilt
away
is a
here.
joke.
Missouri's taking that. Another good game here. LSU Ole Miss. I don't really know what to think. You know, I mean, I don't know what to think of Ole Miss anymore. They had an impressive outing against a good Tulane team, and then they just wet the bed when they got up against a depleted Bama team. I guess LSU. I'm gonna pick LSU here just because I do not like what I saw last week at Ole Miss. And Daniels and Neighbors are connecting on definitely on a certain level, better since week one. So I'll take LSU to win. But what do you guys think? It's minus 2.5. I think LSU can win, but it could be a close one.
Yeah,
I think LSU is my sleeper, so I got to go with them.
Yeah, I think I also have LSU. I think it being played at Ole Miss is a little bit worrisome, but I think the better team being LSU gets it done.
Yeah, Oregon, Stanford. Okay, we all know where this is going. It's going to be Colorado all over again. Oklahoma, Iowa State. They shouldn't really have a problem with this. It's in Oklahoma. You know, I think we can all agree there.
But also, leave it to Brent Venables to sell a very easy win. So
yeah, you're definitely right about that.
And speaking of selling easy wins, not that this is an easy win by any stretch, but
right.
I'm talking about Notre Dame.
Yeah. Game of the week, in my opinion, right here.
Yeah. I'm going Notre Dame. I think Duke is a good team. Do I think they're a perennial powerhouse like Notre Dame? I'm not saying Notre Dame's a perennial powerhouse. They just have more talent. I think it'll be competitive for a bit, but I think Notre Dame's defense gets it done.
Can't sleep. Just a lot on my mind.
You know what?
I can't sleep either.
What
It
the
only
hell?
gets tougher with age.
Mom, what?
Turn the ads off on there, but speaking of Duke and Notre Dame, I'll be the one to make the hot pick here. We're going through all these games. Someone's got to take a hot take here. Duke is upsetting Notre Dame in Duke, and Riley Leonard is going to boost his draft stock by like 10 picks in this game. This is Duke's night to say that we are here. We're coming for the CFP, and they're going to just – I think they win. I think they definitely cover 6, maybe. I could be completely wrong, but I think they cover 6, and I think they win. I'm going to take a hot take right here.
Ryan, who do you have winning?
I got Notre Dame.
Yeah, I like that pick. On to Tennessee, South Carolina. I got Tennessee in this game. I think this further legitimizes Florida's win against them, but that's beside the point. I think the game's in Neyland. They need to get their get back from last year when Spencer Rattler kind of picked them apart, took away their playoff chances. But it also just depends what version of Rattler we're getting. I say this every time.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
So inconsistent.
Yeah, he could either look like one of the best quarterbacks in the country or one of the worst. There's zero in between. I got Tennessee.
Yeah, me too. Alabama, Mississippi State. I'm not big on Mississippi State at all. They got a pretty solid quarterback. You know, he's not nothing special, but not bad at all. But I'll take Bama. They should win this no problem, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean those cowbells.
A little loud, but
yeah. I don't know.
Maybe it's a night game. Night game stuff happens. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Washington, Arizona. I don't think we need to waste our time there.
Washington and Nevada, Fresno State. We don't need to waste our time. Props to Fresno State for making the rankings. You know, great on you. And you'll win this week, and you'll be 5-0. But with that being said, there are picks, and you know, I kind of revealed one of my picks with my pick 'em there, but guys, now that we know who we think is gonna win, who's on upset alert, right? Like who could prove us wrong, right? Who could throw our predictions off and lose a surprising game, Ryan? Who's on upset alert for you?
This week,
Yeah.
I would say let's scroll back down. Let's see what we got. Honestly, I'd say LSU, even though I picked them as my sleeper team to go all the way. Ole Miss just lost to Bama. They're back at home. Lane Kiffin's gonna be fired up. I like Ole Miss, and I could see Duke beating Notre Dame, but I don't see it after they just lost to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Michael, who do you got?
For me, it's actually a game that isn't even on this list. I'm not sure why. It's Texas A&M at Arkansas.
It's because this is the top 25.
It's just ranked.
Yeah, this is just ranked.
Yeah, I think A&M at Arkansas is a fantastic SEC matchup.
Quarterback is down, by the way. Texas A&M starter is gone.
Yeah, that's kind of why I think they could be on upset alert. It's being played at Arkansas. Arkansas hung pretty close with LSU. Disappointing loss versus BYU, but they still put up points. I think that they could definitely win that game. And then also, just to kind of, not that this is an upset alert at all, but I think you picked Oregon State pretty quickly there. Yep. I have Utah winning that game. I think that they're
with
number
the third
10.
string.
I mean, they've had the third string the entire season, and they've won some good games.
Well, it's been flipping between him and the backup.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I think Kyle Whittingham will be fine. I think there's a lot of tape on things DJ is not very good at from last year. I think the rest of this Utah team is going to be able to get it done.
I mean, that's an interesting pick. I mean, I kind of already revealed mine. I think Notre Dame is on upset alert. And then if I had to throw one more in there, I'd probably say, I don't know what it's worth.
Sure, there's food.
As far as an upset goes.
You gotta click pause so it doesn't keep going.
Yeah, noted. But I think Florida's on upset alert. I don't know how much of an upset it is, but they're ranked. Kentucky isn't at the end of the day. So for that reason, I say they're the one who's on upset alert.
What's the line though?
It's -1 for Kentucky, but I mean, hey, they're not ranked. Florida's ranked, so that's my logic as far as the pick goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I also, just because I hate Georgia, I think anything can happen to Jordan Hare. So I'll let you interpret that as you will. If it happens, I get credit for it though.
Yeah, that's fair enough. With all that being said, is there anything left that you guys want to add before we wrap this up? We had a really long segment today, but it's kind of hard to keep it short when we've got so much stuff to talk about. Such good quality of the content that's coming because there's so much. I mean, there's no way to really shorten this. Is there anything else that you guys want to
add? Just something real brief. I would say follow us on TikTok, subscribe, like, share with your friends, family, and most importantly, go Gators. I think we have a real shot at making the SEC championship. You heard it.
Okay. Ryan, you got anything?
Yeah, final thoughts. Bye week this week for Miami. We should be 5-0 going into at North Carolina. I think that should be a good night game for the ACC. And
they'll really fill up that stadium, huh?
In North Carolina.
Oh yeah, good, bro. Good.
Oh, then it'll be full. No worries.
Hey man, even the Dolphins didn't fill up our stadium. We dropped 70.
I know, right?
People in Miami don't.
They're shitty fans, dude.
Speaking of Miami,
the only stadium that I've seen filled up every single game is Inter Miami.
Yeah,
that's what it takes.
I also don't think the Heat gain anything by not getting Dame today. But
nope.
I usually wear my Heat hoodie. I had to find something to wear on this podcast that wasn't anything Heat.
Yeah. Well, and there will be a video on this channel soon. I might have a whole bunch of pissed off Heat fans just come on one after another and voice their complaints because we're all devastated today. But that's for another time. I wanted to thank everyone for listening in as usual. Guys, thank you for the continued support. We're now at 103 subscribers, so we're well past our 100 mark. You guys have been great with the views, the support. We're gaining Instagram followers, everything. Thank you so much for the love. Remember, as Michael said, keep subscribing. Turn those notifications on. Comment what you want to see more of. I'm catering to you guys. I want to give the fans everything that they want to see from this channel. Let us know what you think. Thank you again for watching, and I can't wait to get to you guys next week when we have even more fun stuff.
Let's run it. See y'all on TikTok.
See you on TikTok, boys.